Today we are going to go over the Unit 2 review. Number 1 says the table below shows the time it takes a prototype car to travel different distances. What is the constant rate of change in this situation in miles per hour? When we are looking for the constant rate of change, we can remember the formula K equals Y over X. So in our table, here's our X and here's our Y. So we need to test each of these to make sure it is the constant rate of change for every one. So let's start with the first one. We have 135 over 3. So when we divide that, we go top in, bottom out. 3 goes into 1 0 times. 3 goes into 13 4 times. That's 12. Have 1 left over, and we bring our 5 down. 3 goes into 15 5 times, so that's 45. So 45 is the constant rate of change for that one. Now let's look at the next one. We have 225 divided by 5. So remember, top in, bottom out. 5 goes into 2 0 times, into 22 4 times. That's 20. We have 2 left over, bring our 5 down. 5 goes into 25 5 times. So this one is also 45. So far it's looking good. We do need to check the rest just to make sure it works out. So the next one we have 360 divided by 8. Top in, bottom out. 8 goes into 3 0 times, into 36 4 times, and that's 32. We subtract, get 4 left over, bring down our 0. 8 goes into 45 times, so we also get 45 for this one. We still have one more to check, so that's 540 over 12. So top in, bottom out. 12 goes into 5 0 times, and it goes into 54 4 times, and that's 48. We get 6 left over once we subtract, and we bring down our 0. 12 goes into 60 5 times, and that is 60, so we get 45. So we got 45 all the way across, so our answer would be B. Number 2 says Tim's mom filled the gas tank in her SUV and spent $54 for 12 gallons of unleaded gasoline. What is the constant of proportionality that relates the cost in dollars Y to the number gallons of unleaded gasoline X? So we remember constant of proportionality is the same as constant rate of change. We learned in number 1 that we use K equals Y over X for a constant rate of change. We're going to use that same thing here. So it tells us dollars is Y. So $54 is our Y. And then it tells us the gasoline is X. So our gasoline right here is our X. So we get 54 over 12. Now we do dividing. So top in, bottom out. 12 goes into 5 0 times. 12 goes into 54 4 times. That's 48. Now we can subtract, and we get 6 left over. Now we have a decimal here, so we have to bring that decimal straight up. We can add a 0 to continue with the problem. 12 goes into 60 5 times to get 4.5, or in money terms, $4.50. C. Number 3 says Ken was pricing ingredients for a recipe he was planning to make for a dinner party. The store sold 4 different brands of the same type of product. Which statement about the unit cost of the different brands is true? So when we're looking for unit rate, that means we have to divide. Typically our money divided by the ounces here. So we're going to have 4 different division problems. The first one, we have $3.64 divided by 7. So 7 goes into 3 0 times. Bring our decimal straight up. 7 goes into 36 5 times, and that's 35. We subtract, we get 1, bring our 4 down. 7 goes into 14 2 times. So for brand A, it would be 52 cents. Now let's try the next one. We have 3 divided by 168. Three goes into 1 0 times. Bring our decimal straight up. 3 goes into 16 5 times. That's 15. 1 left over. We bring down the 8. 3 goes into 18 6 times. So that is 56 cents for brand B. Moving on to the next one. We have 9 divided by $5.22. 9 goes into 5 0 times. We bring our decimal straight up. 9 goes into 52 5 times. That's 45. When we subtract, we get 7. We bring down the 2. 9 goes into 72 8 times. And brand C is 58 cents. And we have the last one, brand D. 5 goes into $2.90. 5 goes into 2 0 times. Bring our decimal straight up. 5 goes into 29 5 times. That's 25. 4 left over. We bring down the 0. 5 goes into 48 times. And brand D is also 58 cents. So now we have to break down what the answer choices are saying. We have brand B, which is right here, has a lower cost than brand A, which is here. I like to color code my answer choices because it does help me kind of separate what I'm looking at. So, brand B is 56 cents, and it's supposed to be lower than brand A. Since 56 is higher than 52, answer choice A is wrong. Moving on to the next one. Brand D down here has a higher cost than brand A down at the front. So 58 cents is higher than 52 cents. That seems like a pretty good answer choice right now. Now let's look at the next one. Brand B, which is in the yellow, and brand C, we'll put it in red now, have the same cost. Well, 58 and 56 are not the same, so answer choice C is wrong. We did say B was correct, so that would be our answer because there is an answer that is here. Here, number 4 says, John lost 3.58 kilograms after 2 weeks of exercise. If 1 kilogram is approximately 2.2 pounds, about how many pounds did John lose? So here we have a kilogram related to a kilogram. We have a pound. I'll use it in a different color. A pound, and we're looking for the other pound. So we are going to use a proportion to help us solve this. We have both kilograms, so we're going to put that on the bottom of our proportion. And we only have 1 pound, so that means we're looking for the other pound. So I always like putting my X in the top right. That's what we're looking for. And then we can break down, based on our colors, where everything should go. So here we have 2.2 pounds. So we can put it next to the pounds up top. And it says that 1 kilogram is related to the 2.2 pounds. So those have to go together, meaning right on top of each other. So we have 1 kilogram. Then it says 3.58 is what he lost. We're trying to figure out how many pounds that is. So what we're looking for and 3.58 goes together. Now that we have our proportion set up, we're going to cross multiply. So So we do 3.58, and we multiply by 2.2. So we have 2 times 8 is 16. We carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So we're done with this 2. We can cross it out and cross out all those extras that we carried. Now, since I put an x over that 2, I also have to put an x down here to help me with my place value. Now we can move on to the next one. 2 times 8 is 16. Carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. Carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. Now we can do our adding. We get 6, 7. This is an 8 and a 7. Now we have to look up top. How many decimal places do we have? We have 1 right here, 2, and 3. So we have 3 total decimal places that we have to move. So our decimal starts here. We can move it 1, 2, 3. So we have 7.876. Now we're only given 2 decimal places here. So we do have to round. So we look at that third number. That is 5 or more, so we're going to up this score. So our total answer should be 7.88 pounds, which is D. Number 5 says, at an opening of a new art gallery, the owner hired a caterer to serve light snacks. The owner will have to pay $563.25 for the food. If the owner decided to give 12% tip, how much extra would the catering service earn from the tip? So the first thing we do is we take the percent amount, which is right here, that 12%, and we have to make it a decimal. So anytime we have a percent and we want to make it a decimal, all we have to do is move that decimal 2 times to the left. So now we have 0.12. We're going to take that decimal, we're going to multiply it by the total amount that they have to pay, $563.25. So we're going to multiply $563.25 by 0.12. Okay, so now we have 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12, we cut, I carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. We have to cross out what we're done with. Since we have 1x here, we have to add 1 down low for place value. Now we can go on to the next number. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 5 is 5. Now we have to add. We get 0. 5 plus 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 6 plus 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. 2 plus 3 is 5. 1 plus 6 is 7. 1 plus 5 is 6. Now we have to count up how many decimal places we have up top. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have to move that decimal 4 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we end up getting 67.59. And that would be our answer, C. Since it's just asking about the extra from the tip, that would be our answer. If they had asked for the total new price, we would have had to add that $67.59 to the original. Number 6 says Haley bought 2.4 pounds of almonds for $18.48. How much did she pay per pound for the almonds? So what we have to do is we are finding the unit rate here. When we find unit rate, we just divide to get what it is per 1 pound. So our 2.4 is on the outside and our money is on the inside. Now we aren't allowed to have decimals on the outside of the box, so we have to move this over 1 decimal place. What we do to the outside, we also have to do to the inside. So we end up getting 24 divided by 184.8. When dividing, I always like to bring that decimal straight up. It just helps the place value later on. Now I need to do my division. 24 goes into 1 0 times. It goes into 18 0 times. Now I have to figure out how many times 24 can go into 184. So I can just start trying. So 24, we could always start with 5. It's a good place to start. 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Seems a little low still, so maybe let's try 2 higher at 7. 7 times 4 is 28. Put the 8, carry the 2. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16. 168. It's still low, so let's try 8. It may be too much, though, but we can try it. 24 times 8. 8 times 4 is 32, carry the 3. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3 is 19. So, yep, that is too high. So, 24 goes into 184 7 times. That is 168. Now we subtract. We have to borrow. So, the 8 now becomes a 7. And 4 becomes a 14. 14 minus 8 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. Because remember that 7 right here. We had to borrow. So now we have to bring down that 8. And we figured out last time that 24 times 7 is 168. So this is a 7. It's 168. And that should be our answer. It's 7.70 per pound. Number 7 says an architect is making a scale model of a house. On the model, 2.5 inches represents 10 yards. Which graph represents the same relationship? So we have to notice that on each of these graphs, the inches is down at the bottom. So we know that it says 2.5 inches represents 10 yards. So we have to figure out where 2.5 inches is on that bottom X. So we notice 5 is here and 10 is here, meaning it's going up by 5 every 2. So every 1, it would go up by half of that, which is 2.5. So this right here would be our 2.5. It seems like every graph is the same. So I added the 2.5 to help me keep track. Now it says 2.5 is 10 yards. So our yards is on the left-hand side. So I'm going to take from that 2.5 and map up to 10 on every single one. And there is only one graph that the line that is graphed actually touches 2.5 and 10. And that is A right here. 2.5 and 10 is where that line meets. So our answer would be A. Number 8 said Munson Sporting Goods purchases bowling balls from their manufacturer for a wholesale price of $60 each. There is a 40% markup when they sell the bowling balls to their customers. What would be the retail price of the bowling ball? So to find that, we are going to create a proportion. In a markup proportion, we always have 100% in the bottom right. The percent given, which is 40%, goes above it because percentages have to stay together. Then the wholesale price that we are given is 60, and that's going to go right next to the 100, and our X is going to be above that. So the money that's given goes at the bottom, and the percent given is going to go above that 100. Now from here, we cross multiply 60 times 40. So we get 0 times 0, 0 times 6, cross it out. 4 times 0, 4 times 6 is 24. So we get 2,400. Now we have to divide by 100. Anytime we divide by 100, we just have to move that decimal 2 places to the left. So we go 1, 2 to get 24. Now that answer choice is there, but that's not what the question is asking for. If it wanted to know just the markup price, 24 would be the answer. Now that's a trick answer, so we're going to cross it out because it's asking the new retail price. So we have to take our markup, we have to add it back to the original price. When we do that, we get $84, so the answer would be B. We really have to watch what it's asking for. If it's asking for retail price and it's a markup, we add it. That's a very important part to see. All right, number 9 says Amanda increased the amount of protein she eats every day from 35 to 42 grams. By what percentage did Amanda increase the amount of protein she eats? So here we're going to have another proportion. So we're going to have our 100% down here, bottom right, like always. We're looking for the other percentage. Now we're going to have our change of what she did. So that's going to be big minus small number. How much it changed over the original number. So let's break all that down and see what that means. We can already put in our x over 100. Now, our original is where we started, from 35 to 42. So our 35 was our original. So that's going to go on the bottom. Now the change, the big number minus the small number. That means our big number is 42. We have to subtract the smaller number, which is 35. So we have to borrow here. So when we subtract 12 minus 5, we get 7. So that is our change. 7 over 35 equals x over 100. Now we cross multiply. 100 times 7 is 700. Then we divide by 35. We divide down. So top in, bottom out. 35 goes into 7, 0 times. 35 goes into 70 twice. That is 70. Then we still have to bring that 0 down. 35 goes into 0, 0 times. So that is 20%. Is how much she changed her protein intake. Number 10 says, what is the constant of proportionality for the graph below? So we learned earlier that constant of proportionality just means constant rate of change. When we find the constant rate of change, we have to remember that k equals y over x. So here's our y up top. We're going to use color coding to help us. Our y is here, and our x is here. So again, y is going to be yellow, x is going to be green to help us out. So for the first, the point right here, we see that the y is about halfway up in between 0 and 10. So half of that would be 5 for our y. And then for the x, we can see it's at the 1. So our x would be 1. So that already tells me my answer should be 5. But we're going to continue on just to double check. Okay, we're going to do for at least 3 more. So for the next one, our next point, we have 10 for y. And we have 2 for our x. Now when we reduce that, that also becomes 5. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Let's continue on just to make sure we are correct. Next one is halfway in between 20 and 10 for y. That's 15. And the x that correlates to that is 3. We go straight down to 3. When we reduce that, it is also 5. Let's do one more just to be sure. We're at 20. If we follow it straight across to our y, 20 is our y. And then if we follow it straight down, we follow it down to 4 for the x. When we reduce that, we also get 5. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So our answer is A, 5. Please use this video to study for your test. It is going to be very, very similar to this review.